let's do this again. I tried filming this once. My camera overheated. We're learning how she works. Footage got corrupted. So, we're back. What's up? I'm Sam. This sucks. Let's chat about my June wrap-up. I talked about like a third of these books in the last attempt of this video. So if I'm a little bit snippier and quicker with these first couple reviews, that's why. Sorry. Let me make a thumbnail really quick. One sec. I'm here to chat with you guys about the 27 books that I read in the month of June, which feels pretty tame in comparison to May when I read 41. This feels like a normal reading month, which is crazy to say. Certainly not on track to read 27 in the month of July, but you never know. It's still early enough. Crazier things could happen. So let's chat about the 27 things that I read. Again, Battle of the Booktuber books will be skipped. I can't talk about those yet. So you're gonna have to just watch my reading vlogs on Sundays. Sorry. And then also books that I read in a reading vlog, those will also be like kind of skimmed through a little bit quicker because I've already chatted about them. So if you want full thoughts, you gotta go watch the video. So with all that said, let's jump in with the first book that I read, which was Not for the Faint of Heart by Lex Croucher. This one wasn't my favorite. I really enjoyed Gwen and Art Is Not in Love last year. That was just like a fun, tropey, quirky little historical romance. And this one was quirky and tropey in a not good way. It did not hit. I didn't care for the couple as much. The whole Robin Hood retelling of this didn't work for me as much. I did not really believe into the characters, let alone their romance, but the like merry men themselves just didn't feel authentic and right. It just, something is always a little bit off about this one. It was quirky in a cringy kind of way, not like a hee hee this is cute and fun, but like a secondhand embarrassment, I don't want to be here type of situation, which is interesting. So now I've enjoyed one Lex Croucher, I've not enjoyed another, maybe their third historical romance, which again, like, this is not a normal genre for me to read, but for whatever reason, I'm now like, I'm in it, I gotta read them. So maybe the next one that comes out next year will be better? We'll have to wait and see. I'm not holding my breath. This one I gave 3 stars. The next thing that I can't believe I have to talk about this book all over again. The next thing I listened to was The Never List by Jade Presley. What was this book? This is a Why Choose, about these 4 men who have to share a woman, and they've just had bad luck. All of the girls don't want them. There's always something wrong, but our main girl, she's not like the others, okay? And so she hits it off with them. She's like, I'm really interested in that mysterious brooding one over there that like won't talk to me, but initially wanted me, but these other 3 are great. And like, you're getting a little snippet of politics. You're getting a lot of like, she spends a month with them and we're just like zip zapping through to like beginning, see a snippet in the middle maybe, and then like the end. And it happens rather quick. Somehow I was having a good time. I can't tell you anything about the plot, anything about these characters, not names, not personalities, not traits to their kingdoms or politics, but I can tell you that the ending was explosive, jaw on the floor, and I need to read the second. So I have a lot of mixed feelings about this one. Like, it was fun. I enjoyed my time. I really liked the characters together. Like, their banter worked. Their, hello, buddy. Their banter worked. Their personalities worked. Their romance, if you would call it so. I liked it. It's not memorable. It's not one that really stuck super tight to me, but I had fun while listening to it. And so I'm gonna, leave it at that. This was a 3.5. I will be continuing with the series, so that'll be interesting. I might forget about it by then, but I took decent notes, so hopefully it'll be fine. And I'm sure somebody will give me like a recap of what happened. The next thing that I finished was The Games Gods Play, which I've already chatted about in previous videos. So moving on to This Vicious Dream by Stasia Stark. Now, this is a companion series to The Kingdom of Lies, which I binged so quickly last year. All 4 books, boom bang, got them done. This is a spin-off following a character from that. This is this has a Sleeping Beauty retelling element to it, and I thought it was fine. I'd never bought into their relationship with one another. They're going on this big adventurous quest because she has amnesia, but she also knows where this artifact is and he's looking for it, so they're kind of like reluctant allies together. The smut in this didn't work for me. I'm gonna be honest, it didn't work for me. I didn't buy into their relationship. I didn't think it was necessary. There was some banter that was good, but like overall, going into specifically Stasia Stark, who's a mid author. Like, she's not memorable. She's not an author that, like, I'm anticipating new releases for, but I have fun when listening to the books. So I'm going to keep picking them up, but they're not, like, books that I'm chomping at the bits for. That's to say. The next book that I read is a near 5-star perfection. This is The Road of Bones by Demi Winters. This is a romantasy. It's Vikings. We've got this kingdom, and magic is a big no-no. But maybe somebody here maybe has magic. But she has a unfortunate happenstance of her father dying in front of her and needing to venture up north to hopefully find somebody who can kind of look out for her and take her in now that she's orphaned. She is an adult, but still was traveling with her father. They were trying to, like, keep down low of everything. But she, solo traveling as a girl in a scary world, decides to kind of force herself onto the Blood Axe crew, which is a sort of mercenary guards-like group for the king, but a little bit distant. They can kind of get away with more stuff than the usual guards maybe could, but very strong, very powerful, quite hot. And so she's kind of attached herself to them, and they've agreed to help her on her journey. But there's a lot of betrayal and found family and a lot of tender moments, but also romance, a love triangle that ends in a way that I was flabbergasted, but also, like, loved that it happened that way. The ending was insane. It was so explosive. A lot happened, and it's got me really hooked. I've already got the sequel. These are so chunky, but I've got the sequel right there ready to go. I will be reading them and not finishing, because I think it's either going to be a trilogy or 4 books, but a novella for one of the side characters is coming out. So I'm just really excited for everything that this has to offer. I had a lot of fun. I really loved the world. I really loved being with these characters. It's a lot of traveling. It's a little bit slower, but I just loved, like, being at a festival and seeing how they interact with each other, and just the funs of that really worked for me. So had a blast. So happy. Buddy read that with my bestie Eliza, and it was great. The next book, which was also a 4.5, nearly a 5-star, was the sequel to Throne in the Dark, which I talked about in my mid-year wrap-up if you want more details. But the sequel, Summoned to the Wilds. I love this. This is a rom-com high romantasy, like high fantasy romance book. It is a slow burn, kind of a questy storyline. You've got a half-demon prince who is trying to get his dad, who's trapped in a ruby, out. And then you've got Amma, who is like this bubbly blonde, a little bit silly and goofy, and she is a low-lying thief, like a very, very small thief, and their paths cross. A talisman maybe gets put into Amma, and maybe Damien has full control over her with the code word. And I really like this. It has a lot of conversations about consent, and I really appreciate it. Again, it's a slow burn. You get a lot of really kooky, fun side characters. The third book, which I'm currently in the middle of, so excited. I am having a blast. Starts off way more steamy than the rest, and also just has some of the funniest things. The third book starts at like a convention for villains. It's so good. It's what assistants to the villains wish it was. Sorry, I said it. So good. Please go read the series, please. The next book, I don't really want to talk about. I physically own it. I listened to the audiobook for it though. And it was This Cursed House by Adele Sandine. Hi, sweetie. And I didn't like it. I gave this 2.5 stars. I feel like that was a little generous. I really wasn't into this one. It's a debut, which I feel bad about not liking for that reason. But this is very minimal horror, and it's more like, ooh, your rich family sucks, and basically the house is cursed. Who would have thought? And our main character finds her way back to this house after her whole lifetime of being away. So she goes back to the house, and you learn a lot of secrets. It's kind of gross. I don't understand the incest. It just didn't feel really necessary. Yeah, I was pretty checked out. I started this in March. The audiobook I had to return on Libby, and so I just didn't have it for a long time, and then I got it back in June and I finished it. So maybe the time away, but I wasn't really that interested, or else I would have finished it in March. But I'm bad at DNFing books, so here we are. And I physically owned it, so I didn't want to like completely dismiss it. But yeah, it's not one that I loved, unfortunately. So I'll probably be getting rid of it at some point. But yeah, I did read it, which is nice to read books, you know, off my shelf, even if I don't love them. Anyways, the next book I listened to was The Otherwear Post by Emily J. Taylor. This is the author of Hotel Magnifique, which I really enjoyed. This one I enjoyed a little bit less. This one has a really cool premise though of like magical carriers. Basically there's a bunch of different, from the way I understand it, there's like different worlds that kind of overlap or like are distant, and the only way you can get to them was teleporting, but that magic is gone, and the only way you can travel that way is if you go to this very specific, very elite, hard to get into school, and you learn to be basically a male courier. So basically, you're going to be a mailman. And our girl weasels her way in. She gets a mentor who is around her age, but she gets a mentor. He's quite cute. And they have fun banter. They're reluctant allies. They're learning, hey. They work together and learn a lot about the world. And basically her whole drive and motivation for this is because she received a letter that's very old that did not get to her nearly fast enough. And it basically said that the murders that her father was accused of and put in jail for? Don't remember if he was executed, but he is dead. But basically the crimes that he committed, he actually didn't do. And so she's like, I'm going to detective sleuth this and figure it out. I think the world building and the magic was super cool. I think the characters are where it really fell flat. I never felt connected to them. This is a standalone and it's very short. So I think we just didn't get enough time with them and interactions between them that made everything feel reasonable, like their romance and like their motivations and why they're teaming up together. It just happened a little bit too quick, which is so silly coming from me because I love a fast-paced book. But yeah, I think this was a nice 3.5. I'm not quite sure exactly. 3 on Goodreads though, but very nice mid story. But I do wish there was just like a little bit more, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, I don't know, because Hotel Magnifique, I wouldn't say it was like, the best thing ever, but she just has a way with her writing and her words, but also like the unique magic that she does. I really like. So I will keep reading stuff from her. The next thing I listened to was Glitch Girl by Rainy Owet. I'm sorry if that's wrong. I believe this author is from like a Russian descent, so I might have completely butchered the last name, but basically this is a fictionalized memoir told in verse of the author's experience. The author is trans and kind of talked about their life growing up, being neurodivergent and being just very different and othered from people, but also talked about some of their childhood experience that did happen and how it shaped them and how like they reflect on it still to this day and like how they've carried those moments with them through life. I thought it was really interesting. I don't rate memoir type things because it makes me feel weird being like, let me put a number on your life story. But I did like it. I think it was interesting. It was very real and honest, which I do appreciate, but at the same time I was like, oh god, sometimes like wanted to get away from it. But overall I think it was very pleasant and I do really recommend it. I don't think I've never seen anybody else read it. I picked it because there's like a year-long trans readathon happening that I'm like low-key participating in. I have a TBR. I might have to swap some things out based on other things that I read throughout the year, but I'm slowly chipping away at that, and this was on there for it. So I'm happy to have read it. I'm happy to have listened to it. I do recommend the audiobook. I overall had a pleasant experience with this, and I did enjoy it. Ooh, God. The curse of sequels continues. This is To Shatter the Night by Catherine Quinn. Sequel to Kill a Shadow, one of my favorite books. Not quite favorite, like top 10 favorite, but like 5-star, really enjoyed. It's a premise that I talk about on the channel far too often. Really like it. Found family, girl goes to warrior school with all the boys, finds her little outcast family, so on and so on. Incredibly similar to An Empire of Dreams, kind of similar to Blood and Steel. Alright, so I was very excited to pick up the sequel to continue on with the romance and catch up with our characters and see like how they're gonna get through all of this. Picks up where the book ends, but they're separated, so we have to wait until they come together. But once they're together, I'm like, oh, separate again, please, maybe? I didn't like them together as much as I thought I would. This was pretty boring. This was very disappointing. Didn't have the same kind of charm to it. I really stopped caring about what was going on. A lot of it felt pointless and just like we were filling time. And I feel so mean talking about this book like this because I really had high hopes that this would be a 5-star, that I was going to be so excited to finish the duology and that was going to end like beautifully. It just didn't. I felt rather annoyed with the characters this time. They felt younger and just dumb. They just made weird decisions that I was like, I can't get behind you. I can't. Sorry. So this was 3 stars. I don't think it's terrible. It was just disappointing to follow To Kill a Shadow. Yeah. Sorry. The next thing I read, I'll talk about. It's coming up in a video shortly. Basically, I'm working on my final video for the Amazing Readathon hosted by Breeze over at 4 Paws and a Books, but because I started slacking really hard at the end and summer saddies have hit, I have like kind of push the release date for that video just a little bit, so that I can recover and be at my best, so that when I'm on camera I'm not the worst and just sad and annoying. So I have read Kingdoms of the Wild, and I will give you more thoughts in that video as well, but I really enjoyed this. It felt very much like a D&D campaign getting back together for one last hurrah. The boys are back, the band is together, and it just had a lot of those silly, quirky moments, a lot of like tangent kind of moments where like you're on a quest, you have an objective, you need to go do this thing, but before we do that, let's go collect our party and get off to some shenanigans in the middle of our end goal. It felt very D&D campaign, like we're doing a one shot, let's get the band back together, let's go on a little silly goofy time, and then let's go do the real serious thing. Let's go find one of the group members' daughter who went on an adventure. It might be some perilous danger of peril. And so yeah, I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really liked all of the D&D moments. The voice actor, I think the narrator does a fantastic job, especially for like the kobold type characters, like the little dragon lizard guys. I just really enjoyed the experience. It felt a little bit long for my liking because I kind of was ready for the next thing. There's a few characters that really stood out to me and a few characters that kind of fell flat. So a lot of, mixed reviews, feelings towards this, but overall a pleasant experience. I understand why so many people like this. I will be continuing with the prequel and or sequel following Rose because I liked her and I want to see more from her. So I will continue. I know there's a third book in the works, hopefully. So I think this is definitely like a series that I would keep up with, but it's not like one that I'm like dying to read. The next thing I listened to was Chain Gang All-Stars. I enjoyed this. It's sci-fi dystopian. It's honestly like near future kind of dystopian. Like I could see gladiator style arena fights happening in a prison system. Like that just feels Orange is the New Black. Feels kind of... Oh, I think one of the narrators for this is from Orange is the New Black, funnily enough. But it has that, like, vibe to it, but, like, high stakes. How do I want to talk about this? I think the characters were interesting. I think focusing on the characters, talking about, like, prisons as an institution, and all of the societal commentary that can go along with this book, I thought those were well done. The ending, though... Yeah, no, the ending was one of those things where I was like, all right, everybody, give me your theories. What do you think happened? I did turn to Reddit immediately after. I feel pretty, like, confident in the way that I interpreted it, but I was interested to see, like, how other people might have taken it, and, like, the meanings and stuff. I did, wow. Wow. This wasn't quite a 5-star for me. I did like it. I can see the hype. I think the writing was really good. I really enjoyed the characters. There were a lot of characters, and I was just listening to the audiobooks, so there were definitely some that I was getting a little bit confused on, like, who was who, but that's a me problem, not a book problem. I did like this. I gave it 4 stars, and I think I feel confident with 4 stars. I really liked this. I liked what it was saying. I felt very entertained, and also, like, stabbed in the heart a little bit, so it was a good time. Good time loosely. Like, good time, like, I read a book, good time, not good time, like, the content in the book was good. The next thing that I listened to was A Cursed Son by De Leitao, and I should just talk about them at the same time. I also read the sequel, A Traitor Sister. I read the sequel because I got it on NetGalley as an audio arc, so I went, oh no, I have to read the first one. So I did that. I finished the first 2. There's going to be a third book. I know the ebook comes out in October. Not sure when the audiobook will come out. I don't know if I'm going to continue. The second book really let me down. Surprise, surprise. The first book is it's a romance series. The first book follows a girl who is a body double for the princess. There's a few of them around. There's also a prince. They all have body doubles. They all have different skill sets, but are pretty trained and, conditioned for dying in the place of the princess whenever need be. And during a ball or something, she comes across this guy, and he decides that he wants to marry her instead of the actual princess. I don't remember if he knew that she was a body double or not, but he's like, that one, thank you. The wedding happens, and she's like, I'm a spy, I'm gonna give you all the secrets. And then her world gets rocked a little bit. There's cute little side characters that I really enjoyed. I liked the first book. The first book I gave 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. The sequel, where everything went horribly wrong. We went from having one perspective to having like 5 or 6 perspectives in the sequel, and it was just too many. I could not care enough. I wasn't reading along physically because I was listening to these at the office. So I was not able to keep all of the characters straight in my head. I had to download the ebook at first to just like look at the chapter headings because it was not distinct and clear enough. The voice is all the same. There's only 2 narrators for all of the perspectives. I'm sorry, if you're gonna give me 5 perspectives, give them all their own narrators. I don't care if it costs more money. Put in the work. It was difficult. The narrators, I think, did great with what they had, but it still was not distinct enough for me to really keep track. There's so many characters. There were too many. I didn't like it. The focus of which the plot was happening, of like trying to reunite certain characters with each other and having different goals and objectives, but also like, oh, he's so evil, but also he's not. And it was just too much. It was too much for my little brain. I did not have nearly as good of a time. Everybody has to have a romance. You cannot have a romantasy book where anyone is single, like, God forbid. So yeah, the second book really let me down. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the third book. I don't know. I'm not sure. I might, but I might wait until the audiobook is out, and if it's not on Libby, then, like, I'm not going to pick it up. I guess that'll determine it, but I think I took notes. I really don't remember. We'll just have to wait and see, unfortunately. Next thing that I read, this is from a book subscription. This was Owl Crate. This is Wooing the Witch Queen by Stephanie Burgess. How do I want to talk about this? I downloaded the Kindle Unlimited book on my Kindle, and I listened to the audiobook, and I flew through this. This is pretty short, and such a popcorn read. It's a lot of just surface level, don't have to think too hard, just get in, get out, have a good time type of story, while still having at least enough going for it. In this, we are following a witch queen who has recently taken over her kingdom from her uncle, who was terrible. And this prince is trying to escape his father because expectations of society and just not living up to the expectations, feeling bad and needing to get away because he's concerned about his safety. So he runs away, and happens to the witch queen. And he's like, I'm gonna tell her who I am. I'm gonna plead for, like, anything, whether she kills me or puts me in a prison. Like, I just need to get away. Anything is better than being back at home. Oopsie daisies, a little bit of a mistaken identity. She thinks that he is this powerful eldritch wizard who is going to help catalog her library of books because there's just too many. And that's like the focus of the first half of the book, I would say. There's also other witch queens, which we get to see glimpses of. They're actually pretty big players because each book in this trilogy will be following a different queen as they get their romances. So this is all we get with these 2. And I'm sure we're going to see snippets of them in future books, but, like, they're wrapped up. Going into this, with it being so short, knowing that you're only going to get this one book, kind of like interconnected standalones, you can't read them out of order. The plot does matter, but interconnected in the sense of, like, different characters. You don't get a lot of screen time with them, so you don't really get a lot of the moments of them having feelings for each other. Like, there's instant attraction, but you don't really get instant chemistry. They are cute. There's a lot of quirkiness to it. The witch queen, she loves, like, non-human people, so, like, the ogres and the goblins, she really cares for them. And there's a very cute Christmas, but it's not Christmas because it's a fantasy world Christmas scene that I thought was very precious. There's a lot of nice moments in this, but it's just too short for everything that it's trying to do. I am interested in continuing with the series because we're following the Fae Queen next, and God, she's crazy. She's such a hoot. So I'm very excited to see, like, okay. But I think this wraps itself up nicely. Like, you get a full story arc. You see, like, the overarching big plot that's going to span the 3 books in the series. But then you also get, like, the mini arc of her basically reclaiming her kingdom as hers and trying to, like, reinstate her power. But yeah, I did overall like it. I did not love it. I don't think that it's ever going to really be, like, the best book ever for most people. But if you need just, like, a quick popcorn romantasy where there's, like, minimal smut, I think there was, like, maybe 2 semi-scenes, but nothing, like, too crazy. It's just too short of a book. It's too short of a book. I'll leave it at that. I will be continuing with the series. I did have a fine time. It's 3 stars, but it was like a 3 stars, like, hee, have a good time. Happy to have read it. I really thought it was going to be 5 stars. So just, like, 5-star prediction from this special edition. Oh, yeah, you can see her little orc guy. Ogre. Sorry, he's an ogre. Oh, I didn't notice. This picture's so dark. Why do we do this? Make him lighter. There's, like, a little guy down there. It's very cute. It has charm. I did enjoy most of it. I just think pacing because of the length was an issue. Speaking of pacing being an issue because it's a short book, Fireheart Tiger by Aliette de Bodard. She's French and I don't speak that, so that's probably not the right pronunciation, but we tried. This is, I believe, young adult romantasy that is like 3 hours long. It's a novella. It's very short, very quick. The main character is the problem. Like, fully, like, she is the problem. I understand why everything happens the way that it does because of her, and I think she's the core root of the issues. There's a love triangle that I just did not care for. I think it's really, really, really hard to create a believable romance in such a short period of time, and then also on top of that, you're trying to tell me a type of fantasy plot of, I don't even know what. Like, this book was very forgettable. I think the other issue of novellas just being so short, I don't remember. So I can't really give you much. This was 3 stars and forgettable. So maybe it was more like a 2. Anyways, moving on to another 4.5 star book. Oh my god. This one was so shocking for me because I had started it and I was like, yeah, it's fine. I expected the trajectory, the path that we were going on. I was like, yes, of course this is the direction. Of course this is what's happening. And then like the very, very end was happening. I was like, you're kidding me. Like, I was so shocked. I was so surprised. I was aghast. Basically, I read Bloom by Delilah S. Dustin. I really enjoyed this author. I read Guillotine. I read the long novel where there's like an artist retreat. I might have read another. I can't keep track anymore. And now I've read Bloom. And Bloom is the first one of Delilah S. Dawson's books that really got on my radar, that people were really loving, and I heard such high praise. So many people are giving this 4 and 5 stars. I was like, is it too overhyped? Like, am I gonna like it? I don't know. No, I liked it. I liked it a lot. This was very good. This is following 2 sapphics who meet at a farmer's market, and there's a little bit of a obsession going on, and I can't say that because that would be a spoiler. Obsession is going on, a relationship forms between them. This is, at its heart, a romance story until the end. Like, it is romance. It's romantic, it's sweet, it's girls dating, it's everything you want it to be. I really enjoyed it, but the end is so unhinged. It goes in the direction you expect it to, and then like once you get there, it goes even further, and that's when you're like, oh wait, yeah, no, I actually love this. I was so hooked the entire time. I was so invested in everything that was happening in their romance and like the little red flags that you're like, I see it, but I'm gonna ignore it. Amazing. I really, really enjoyed Bloom. Moving on, the next thing I read was Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe, and this was, again, another memoir, so we won't be rating this one. And I don't really have a lot to say. It's a memoir of the author's experience of being non-binary and having to go through puberty and just life. I rather enjoyed this, but my biggest issue is that it's not told in a linear style, which is, you know, what you would expect from a memoir. There was a lot of like bouncing back and forth where I was like, when in the timeline do these things happen? And that part I was like a little like not into, but I think the art style is pretty. I think that it really talks about some not sensitive topics, but real topics of like having to go to the gynecologist to get your coochie checked and the trauma you can go through having to do that, and it just being a lot, and like not conforming to gender, and the struggles that you would go through mentally because you don't understand your body and the world around you in the same way as other people seem to. And so I think it has some really good discussions, but it wasn't like my favorite memoir ever. But I read this because it's a banned book. Very banned. People really hate it. I don't really get it. It felt like even as a me person, like I could relate to some of it and some of it was unrelatable, but like I think it was educational at the end of the day. So I don't know. The other thing that I listened to was another memoir, which was Gender Euphoria. The narrator and editor of this story collection, Laura Kate Dale, this is all about like the trans and non-binary experience, but a lot of it is told like I don't know how to explain. So a bunch of trans and non-binary authors came and got to write a memoir, short story about their life and a small portion, a tiny incident in their life that they wanted to explore and talk about. And I thought that was beautiful. There was a lot of moments of joy and just pride and It was very beautiful and uplifting at times, but also like still heartbreaking for some of the stories. I think this was very well rounded. I think you get so many different perspectives that you don't normally, at least in my worldview, get, where the trans conversation, transphobia and everything is often very American centric for me. And so getting to hear from like non-binary or trans people in Brazil was like eye-opening. I'm like, oh yeah, like the rest of the world does exist. And sometimes I need a reminder of that these aren't just American experiences, and that it's not just like America in this like tiny little box of, oh well, we're going through this and everybody else is just happy and live their life and nobody's transphobic anywhere else. It's like, no, the UK is just as bad, if not worse. Like, it's important to have these conversations. It's important to remember the scope of humanity, and it's not just to your little country. I think this was very well done, very well edited. Selection, I think, was great. I would definitely read more if, like, this specific story thing, like, if there was a Gender Euphoria part 2 with different authors telling different experiences, like, that's something I would keep tuning into. I think it's very important. I enjoyed it a lot. I had fun. I laughed. My heart broke for some of the stories. Like, it was just a really good, well-rounded experience. I can't talk about the next two, so we can talk about the last two, which are tied together. I have finished The Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So, wow, finishing series the year we start that. Let's go! I initially started this back in May because of Escape the Readathon. I read the first book for Deja, who was a co-host with me for the Game Masters. And I've now finished the series. It does end in the bang that you expect it to. I really want to buy the series for my mom because I think she would really like it. It's teenage criminal minds, but a lot of their past is integrated into the like mastermind of the serial killer, and it's twisty, it's turny, it's crazy at times. I really enjoyed it. So I finished Bad Blood, and then I listened to the 4.5 novella 12, which I also really enjoyed. Like, I would not mind if Jennifer Lynn Barnes was like, hey, let's revisit these characters at 30 years old and see, like, what they're up to. We get, 12 is, I think, 5 years later. They're, like, 23-ish. And I really enjoyed the direction that it showed us. I liked the path that they go down. I would love to honestly see more of them. I would totally be like, and 10 years in the future, where are they now? Like, I would read that book or that trilogy. I would rather read from The Naturals and continue that as adults than read more of the Inheritance Game series. I'm pretty over it, so this was just nice. It was wrapped up so well. I really enjoyed the thrills and direction that we headed. It was as explosive as I had hoped it to be, and I think 12 might have been one of my favorites from them. I really liked the first one. The mid one had like a bit of a lull, but I still enjoyed it. The third one, no. Was it the second one? No. First and second, really good. Third one hit a lull, came back up for the fourth, skyrocketed for the fifth. I really enjoyed 12. I really enjoyed seeing them at 23 and like where they were, how their personalities were still similar and like the same, but grown up a little bit. Seeing the paths that they were choosing for themselves and what they wanted to do with their lives. I just really enjoyed that. And I would really like to see more, okay? So if some reason Jennifer Lynn Barnes sees this or sees I read the first and last book for the Inheritance Game, please give me more of The Naturals. I really liked it. I want more teenage, young adult Criminal Minds. I want more Criminal Minds books that aren't like too terribly dark. Like, they kind of skirt the line, which is why I think YA is a good genre for it. Anyway, I really like these. I really recommend the series. I think a lot of people will have fun with them. I think they're very easy to read, but still like engaging enough, but still dark, but still lighthearted. It just has all the fun things. I love the quirky characters so much. It was just really good. But that's everything that I read. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video. If you made it to the end, you can put a little Dark Academia emoji or a little crow, a pen, whatever your little heart desires for wooing the Witch Queen. Let me know what your best book from June was, or the best book you've read so far this year, because it's the time for mid-year wrap-ups. So I would love to know, like, what has really stood out to you. You can also rant about your least favorite book. I don't care. Whatever you want. Whatever feels right for you in the moment, okay? Anyways, that's gonna be it for me. I've got to go. I need to drink a lot of water. It's getting very toasty. My camera's tried to overheat like 3 times since starting this, so it's a little too hot in my office. I'm gonna go. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. I will be posting my Sunday Battle of the Booktuber Week 2 soon. On Sunday, obviously. Okay, bye!